Hey, Greg. Nice and loud. Wanted to get your general thoughts on the game. The first half certainly being up 2-0. Maybe you guys deserved it, maybe you didn't. Then giving up 3 goals in the second half and coming back to tie it too. Sounds like a little roller coaster out there.
Yeah, it was. I think, as you mentioned, we're up 2 goals in the first half, but we were still having some issues just, organizing the defensive side of things so that we could be, more aggressive. We could dictate where they were playing better than we did. We could recover balls in better spots. I just felt like we were a little disconnected in our movements, and they were able to hold possession. They didn't create a ton in the first half, but I felt coming in at 2-0 that I was still a little uncomfortable with the defensive side of things in terms of managing it, again, winning balls in better spots. And so we came out in the second half, and we were even more disconnected in the beginning of the second half. We were too deep in the back, too high in the front. Our wingers were stepping to their wide center backs instead of connecting with our fullbacks to defend, and there was just so much space between our lines, and they took advantage of it. We turned over balls in transition moments. Again, some of that's just being disconnected on the defending side. So it just felt like we were, in trying to get to a position, it was recognizing the moments of, are we pressing or are we sitting in a mid-lower block? And we were executing our pressing movements when we should have been executing our lower block movements, and that just had us separated. So I saw that happening. I didn't see the solution on the field happening, so we decided to go to a back 5, which was to manage kind of the 2 strikers and the guys who were rolling underneath. I felt like that would give our back line maybe a little more confidence to be aggressive with some of those players who were between the lines, and it would clear up who's stepping to who, and the reference points would be a lot clearer. Unfortunately, we gave up a goal before we got settled into that off of a set-piece scenario. But then I felt like once we got comfortable, once we got settled into it, then I felt like we took the game back over. It was clear again on the defensive side. We were able to be more aggressive. We were able to start our attacks and got some finished attacks out of that. So I felt like we took the game back a little bit after we gave that one up. But for stretches of the game, we just didn't have the collective defending side of it wasn't clear enough. They came out in a 3-4-1-2 versus a 4-2-3-1 and we just didn't get the reference point situated. Again, whether we were pressing or whether we were sitting in a low block, we were just kind of in between a little bit.
Seattle's the only team that you guys scored on first whenever you went up to Seattle. It's the only team that came back to beat you, and they almost did it again. What does that say maybe about them, and what does it say about you guys?
Yeah, they're a mature team. They've played in a lot of big games, important games. They've got a lot of guys who've been around for a long time, and they've got guys who can kill you when they get opportunities. And so that's why I wasn't very comfortable at 2-0 still. I still felt like we needed to get the defending side of things clear because I felt like they still have guys who can punish you if given the chance, and they still had more than their fair share of the possession. So they're a mature team who is fighting for their lives a little bit right now as it comes to the playoff scenario, so it's not surprising that they didn't just roll over and let us take the game. So as for us, I liked I think the mentality was good for us to keep pushing and to get something out of this game in the end when, I look at it as 2 points lost, but 1 point gained, I guess, in the end. So everything matters right now down the stretch.
Hey, Greg, it seems when you're facing Seattle, it's almost like a game of chess between you and Brian. Your last move there, bringing on Zavaleta, was that to go to a 5-man back but a 3-5-2 going forward? Yeah,
we went to more like a 3-4-3, which, like I said, it kind of cleared up our reference points in terms of how we were going to defend them and press them. Our wing backs could get to their wing backs. Our 3 center backs could deal with their 2 strikers. Our midfielders could work more next to each other. I felt like it was clearer for us once we got situated as to how we were going to deal with their numbers and where their numbers were. This third goal, I can't think it was. Our fullback, when we were still in a 4, released out to get to their wing back, and Rui Diaz goes through that space. We don't follow him. He then puts the ball in front of the goal, and we give up a goal, right? When we go to the 3 in the back, that space doesn't exist anymore. He can't run through that space. We were more comfortable getting out to press things. So we were trying to as much close things off on the defensive side because then we could win the ball in better spots and start our attacks in better areas. So the switch to the 5 was, again, try to close up some of those defensive holes that I felt like we weren't covering very well tonight.
Greg, I know it was a tough game, but what did you make of the minutes that Ricky had in his debut?
Good. Again, he was dynamic. He is getting the ball moving. He's moving around the field, getting a feel for his teammates, getting a feel for the league, the group. But you can see how shifty and quick he is, and he can get between lines and get to the next line. By the time they get in and we give up a goal, it becomes pretty compact and dense again, because now they're defending a lead not too far after they came onto the field, and so. Or before they came onto the field, one of the two. So it was dense in that space. So it was hard to kind of create on the attacking side. So you had to roll out a little bit, pick up balls a little bit lower, try to orchestrate things from a deeper position. But today he was good when he came on, and I think he'll continue to build in that. I mean, the kid has incredible quality. So it just was a game that was a little bogged down by the time he got into it, but still was able to find some good moments.
Looking at the positives, as you mentioned, down the stretch and every point counts, just how important is it in a game against a team like Seattle that keeps going at it, where just the mentality of how the team wanted to still fight and learning to close those games when you have the opportunity?
Yeah, I mean, that's MLS down the stretch, that's teams that are fighting for their lives. They have nothing to lose. They have whatever those things are. They have the mentality of a Seattle who's won championships and has done a lot together. It's being able to play every minute like it's a final. It's being able to stay together, know how you want to protect yourselves in moments where you have a lead and maybe you don't have the ball, but you still protect yourself and you don't give away things. That was something that we just didn't manage well in the first part of the second half, but again, the response to come back and get something out of the game is important. Again, I said to the guys, I remember last year when we went to RSL and we gave up a last-second goal as in stoppage time on a throw-in that was in their half the field, ends up in the back of our net, and we lost a point, and that ends up being the difference between us making the playoffs and them making the playoffs. So every point down the stretch matters. Fighting to get even one at the end is important. You don't know how important until it all closes out, but it was an important win. It keeps them behind us, and it keeps us taking a step forward.
Greg, Sam and Kevin obviously didn't have as much space to run as they did in the Vancouver game, so maybe not as much success, but Kevin had a chance to put you guys up 3-1. He misses that ball on the goal line. Are you getting what you need out of both of those guys, and particularly Kevin?
Yeah, look, it's a redundant conversation really when it comes to it. He gives us running, depth running, transition running. He'll give us an honest defensive work rate to help Jules in covering some of those things. So he gives us some of the things that not everybody gives. He covers a lot of ground in high speed, and he gets in front of the goal. We don't have another winger who's going to get in the front of the goal in that situation, probably, because he's the one that does the running. So does he finish as much as we'd like him to or need to? No, we know that. So it's a balance between you get some of the work rate and sprinting and the running and some of the effort stuff, but we still want to see those balls in the back of the net. Everybody, when I say we, the whole fans, everybody wants to see that in the back of the net, and that's the expectation. So, yeah, it's going to be a decision that I have to make moving forward about, is it the work rate, is it the running, is it that, or is it Douglas's sharpness, his quickness, his ability on balance, things like that. I think Sam gives us an honest work rate. He's been able to I think in the last 2 games have some impact moments. Like you said, for our wingers, wasn't always easy tonight for them to find their moments, but again, I think both of them give us something behind the back line that nobody else really gives us, and that's what they bring to our team that nobody else does, to be honest. All right, thank you.